The regular board meeting of the trustees of the McAllen Independent School District will be held Monday, October 24th, 2022, beginning at 5 p.m. here at the Dr. Ricardo Chapa Boardroom inside the administration building of the McAllen Independent School District at 2000 North 23rd Street, McAllen, 78501. Items listed on this agenda may be taken in an order other than as shown as the agenda unless removed from the consent agenda item. Identified within the consent agenda will be acted on at one time. At this meeting, there may be discussion and action of the board on the items and subject listed as below. Item number 1, call the meeting to order. Item number 2, the invocation. I'll ask everyone to please rise and join us in a moment of silence as we remember those in St. Louis with their tragedy today. Trustee Sam Saldivar will lead us in our invocation.
Thank you, Mr. President. Dear God, we may come together in your name to work for the good of our schools. Stay with us with your invisible presence and pour your spirit upon us. Make us your gifts in a spirit of trust and guidance, in a spirit of prudence and understanding, so that the children of our district may experience an abundance of learning, compassion, and peace. Let harmony reign among us, and let us keep our eyes ever fixed on you. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance, I ask Trustee Debbie Crane-Aliceda.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. We have public comments. The board encourages public comments at all board meetings. According to Board Policy BED, local board meetings, public participation, and related district administrative procedures and practices. Persons wanting to make a statement to the board are required to register with the superintendent secretary 1 hour prior to the start of the scheduled meeting. Audience participation at a board meeting is limited to the early stages of a meeting, and at all other times during the board meeting, the audience shall not enter into discussion or debate on matters being considered by the board unless required. Each participant is limited to 2 minutes per meeting to make comments to the board. At regular board meetings, the board shall permit public comments regardless of whether the topic is an item on the agenda posted with the notice of the meeting. At all other board meetings, public comment shall be limited to only items on the agenda posted with the notice of the meeting. The board shall not deliberate or decide regarding any subject that is not included on the agenda posted with notice of the meeting. If an issue mentioned is on tonight's agenda, the board will defer discussion of the issue until the appropriate time during the meeting. Should the speaker drift from the stated subject or becomes disruptive or abusive, he or she shall be given one warning. If a second warning is required, then the speaker may forfeit the remaining time allotment. The board shall not tolerate disruption of the meeting by members of the audience. The board has adopted complaint policies that are designed to secure, at the lowest administrative level, a prompt and equitable resolution of complaints and concerns. Please refer to the following policies: student and/or parent complaints, that's policy FNG, employees, policy DGBA, and citizens, policy GF. Copies of the district policies are available on the MISD website at McAllenISD.org. At this time, I will call forth the person that has signed up to address the board, Mr. Manuel Pescador, Jr. Well, we're staying above the board today, so.
Yeah, you did good. You did good.
Manuel Pescador, Jr., second call.
It was very informative.
Okay, Mr. Pescador is not here, so we will move on. Board, we have a request to move up some agenda items.
Proclamations. Mr. President, I motion we move item 11A, B, and C. Is that it?
Actually, the request is for items 11A and B and item 10A. So the recognitions and the two items.
Well, point of order, that's the motion.
Right.
on the floor, so.
Do we have a second to bring forth items 11?
I'll rescind my motion.
Okay,
Resend the second.
thank you. So we have a request to bring forth items 10A items 11A and 11B.
Trustee Vela's going to make the motion.
It's against his better view.
There has to be a motion, so I'll move that we bring up the three items, 10A, 11A, and 11B at this time.
We have a motion by trustee Saldivar. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second by trustee Peña. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Vela, for your consistency. The yeas pass it 6-1. We'll bring forth item 10A, recognition of the two McAllen Independent School District campuses for earning the 2021-2022 Texas Education Agency's Accountability Campus A rating. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. As our community knows and our board knows, we're very proud of the fact that 19 of our campuses earned A's. We were previously able to honor all other campuses but these two. So tonight we recognize two of our 2021-2022 Texas Education Agency's Accountability A-rated campuses. And we have Ms. Bridget V., our Associate Superintendent for Instructional Leadership, who will share more information. This item is for information purposes only. Ms. V.
Yes, sir, and it is an honor to have with us tonight the two remaining principals. Our first principal that we will be welcoming in to receive her plaque from you, Dr. Gonzalez, is Ms. Cristina Hernandez, principal of Gonzalez Elementary. And our last principal, making the 19th principal, is Ms. Jessica Rodriguez, principal of Castañeda Elementary.
Why don't we do all the ladies in the front?
All right, big smiles, everyone. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. Excellent. Very good.
Now we move to item 11A, discussion and possible action to adopt the proclamation regarding the Principals Month. Can I get a motion to approve items 11A and 11B? Thank you, gentlemen. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All right. And ladies, thank you. Dr. Gonzalez, the floor is yours.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. McAllen ISD has proclaimed the month of October to be Principals Month, and we have Mr. Daniel D. Vela, Board of Trustee, who will read the proclamation, and Mrs. Bridget V., our Associate Superintendent for Instructional Leadership, who will share more information. Mr. Vela.
Thank you, Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir.
Proclamation, State of Texas, County of Hidalgo, McAllen Independent School District. Whereas principals as school leaders are entrusted with our most valuable resource, our next generation of leaders and contributors. These students are our promise for the future, and it is critical that they receive a rigorous and well-rounded education. Whereas principals set the academic tone for their schools and work collaboratively with teachers to maintain high curriculum standards, develop mission statements, and set performance objectives. Whereas the National Association of Elementary School Principals and the National Association of Secondary School Principals, joined by their state affiliates, have designated the month of October as a time to recognize the contribution of elementary, middle, and high school principals. Whereas we encourage all Texans to recognize the important roles principals play in ensuring that every child has access to a high-quality education. Now, I, therefore, Daniel D. Vela, of the Board of Trustees of the McAllen Independent School District, do hereby proclaim the month of October as National Principals Month, and in witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the McAllen Independent School District to be affixed the 24th day of October, the year 2022. Daniel D. Vela, as attested to by Marco Suarez, Secretary to the Board of Trustees of McAllen Independent School District. Thank you.
And we will begin by introducing our Mac High Principal Vertical Team. And leading that vertical team is our McAllen High School Principal, Mr. Albert Canales. Achieve Early College High School, Miguel Carmona.
Oh, sorry about that. No, you're good. Yeah, I can see you there. Yep, very good. See everyone? Excellent, very good. All right. Big smiles, everyone. All right. Ready? 1, 2, 3. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. One more. One. All right, big smiles. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Very good. Thank you.
I've been looking for it all over the place.
All right, and we will proceed to our next Memorial Vertical Team Principal Group, and Mr. Avidas is out of town today, so we'll be minus him, but we'll begin with Mr. Fernie Gutierrez, Principal of Instruction, ING Campus. Next, we have Mr. Alfredo Gutierrez, Principal of Dorothea Brown Middle School. And we have Mr. Miguel Herrera, Principal of Dr. Rodney D. Cathy Middle School. Ms. Carla Rodriguez, Principal of Jose de Escandon Elementary. And again, we welcome Ms. Cristina Hernandez, Principal of Gonzales Elementary. And we welcome Jessica Lowe, Principal of Sam Houston Elementary. Principal of Andrew Jackson Elementary, Erica Salinas. And Rachel Montgomery, Principal of Theodore Roosevelt Elementary.
One more, Mr. Resident? One more? Very good. Excellent. All right. See you there. Very good. All right. Big smiles, everyone.
We have to fill in this gap right here.
You got it. Yes, sir. Big smiles, everyone. Ready? All right, let's get it. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. One more. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Excellent. Very good. Thank you.
Congratulations, guys. Keep up the good work.
No. Let me get one more. I was just looking at the last one. Sorry. Ready? 1, 2, 3. All right. Thank you. All right.
See you later.
You'll send it to the
Bye. Bye.
Appreciate you. Thank you so much.
And to complete the presentation of our 30 principals, we will continue with the James Nicky Rowe High School Principal Vertical Team, beginning with our captain, principal of Nicky Rowe High School, Ms. Monica Kaufman. Jeanette Nino, principal of Lamar Academy. Sam Casares, principal of De Leon Middle School. Connie Camacho, principal of Fossum Middle School. Principal of Garza Elementary, Miss Nancy Valenzuela. Principal of Hendricks Elementary, Carlos Mora. Principal of McAllen Elementary, Miss Elizabeth Gonzalez. Veronica Rodriguez, principal of Sanchez Elementary. And principal of Juan Seguin Elementary, Mr. Juan P. Navares.
There we go. All right. That's perfect. Really good. Big smiles, everyone. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Let's get one more. 1, 2, 3. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you all. Bye-bye. No, we're good. We're good. We're family. At least we are now.
We're from the South, but we're not that.
Hey, man.
It's good to be able to laugh about it. All right, we move on to item 11B, discussion and possible action, which we did take care of already, to adopt the proclamation regarding School Psychology Awareness Week. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. During the week of November 7th, schools throughout the country will celebrate National School Psychology Awareness Week to highlight the important work school psychologists and other educators do to help all students thrive. Mr. Tony Forina, our board president, will read the proclamation, and Dr. Rosalba de Hoyos, our assistant superintendent for instructional services, will introduce our psychologist. We've already approved the item, so Mr. President.
All right. The proclamation from the state of Texas, the county of Hidalgo, and McAllen Independent School District. Whereas all children and youth learn best when they are healthy, supported, and receive an education that enables them to grow academically, socially, and emotionally. And whereas children's mental health is directly linked to their learning and development, the learning environment provides an optimal place to promote good mental health through connectedness with the school and community. And whereas school psychologists are specially trained to foster and deliver in the school and community a continuum of mental health services and academic supports that lower barriers to teaching and learning. Now, therefore, I, Tony Forina, President of the Board of Trustees of McAllen ISD, do hereby proclaim the month of November 2022 as School Psychology Awareness Month. I call upon all residents and public schools to recognize the vital role that school psychologists and support staff play in the personal and academic development of our children. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the McAllen Independent School District to be affixed on this 24th day of October 2022. It does call for School Psychology Awareness Week, November 7th through the 11th. So I'll ask that we please keep that in mind. And this has been attested to by our board secretary, Mr. Marcos Suarez. Thank you, y'all.
Thank you, President Forina. Tonight we have the following staff members that we would like to recognize. Nelida Evangelista. Judith Garcia. Marimar Gomez. Ana Carla Martinez. Susie Phillips. Megan Schuster. And Mara Wenzel.
All right, let's take a step.
Ladies, if we can have you take one step down.
One step down. Very good.
There you go.
All right.
Bring them up. Bring them up.
There you go. We have some space over here. Yes, sir. Let's get you on this side. Have it from this side. Very good. Very good. Right here. All right. Perfect. Let's give it a shot, guys.
No, you're fine.
That'll work. We're good. I can see everyone. I can see everyone's face. All right. Big smiles, everyone. All right. Big smiles. Ready? 1, 2, 3. All right. Let's get another one. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Nice. Very good. Thank you.
Hello?
There you go. Good job.
Thank you very much. Thank you, thank you. So that knocked that out.
We didn't move that one. I don't know if they're here.
They're not here?
They're not here yet.
They're not here yet. Okay.
Wait, talk.
All right, board, so we will jump back to our regularly scheduled agenda items, which calls for us to recess to closed session. The Board of Trustees may go into closed session pursuant to Section 551.071, 551.072, 551.074, 551.076, and 551.089 of the Texas Government Code to discuss the following items. 5A, discussion of human resource recommendations for school year 2022-2023. 5B, discussion of human resource employee resignations for the school year 2022-2023. 5C, discussion and recommendation for position of Executive Director for Child Nutrition and Purchasing. 5D, discussion of recommendation for position of Director for UTRGV MISD Collegiate Academy. 5E, School Safety and Security. 5F, pending and/or potential litigation. Or 5G, possible real estate acquisition. At 5:25, our board is in closed session. It is 6:14, and this meeting will reconvene in open session. For the record, no action was taken on any of the items discussed in closed session. We move on to item 7A, discussion and possible action on human resource recommendations for school year 2022-2023. Dr. Gonzalez. I have a motion by trustee Alvarado. Is there a second? Second by trustee Saldivar. Any comments, questions, concerns, or queries? None heard. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. The ayes carry it 6-0. Congratulations. Discussion of human resource employee resignations for school year 2022-2023. School Human Resource submitted a list of resignations for the school year under a separate cover, and that is for information purposes only. Item 7C, discussion and possible action on recommendations for position of Executive Director for Child Nutrition and Purchasing. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. Administration recommends Alejandra Molina for the position of Executive Director for Child Nutrition and Purchasing Services, and administration is recommending action on this item.
What say ye, Board? I have a motion by trustee Saldivar, a second by trustee Vela. Any comments, questions, concerns?
Queries?
No queries on this one. None being heard. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The ayes carry it 6-0. Congratulations, Ms. Molina. Item 7D, there you go. Item 7D, discussion and possible action on recommendation for position of Director for UTRGV MISD Collegiate Academy. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. Administration recommends Elizabeth Gonzalez for the position of Director for the UTRGV McAllen ISD Collegiate Academy. We are requesting action on this item.
So moved, Mr. President.
I have a motion by trustee Sam Saldivar and a second by trustee Danny Vela. Any comments, questions, concerns?
Just a quick comment.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Oz. The process was thorough. You had a lot of applicants, and the committee that you put was very diverse. And so when it comes to us, you've had a lot of eyes looking at it, and, you know, it was a hard decision to make, looking from my perspective, because there were so many strong applicants, but the fact that you have a process that makes me feel better, and it's not the same people over and over on the committee, so I just want to publicly state that it's a great process that our team has implemented. So thank you, Mr. Miller, Dr. Gonzalez.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, trustee Alvarado. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The ayes carry it 6-0. Item 7E, the school safety and security. School safety and security report.
Nothing at this time, although we have a report later on.
Thank you, ma'am. Item 7F, pending and/or potential litigation.
Nothing at this time.
All right, one last one your way. Possible real estate acquisition.
Nothing at this time.
3 strikes and you're out. Thank you, ma'am. It is time for the public hearing for the School Financial Integrity Rating System of Texas. That's School First. For the 19th time in 20 years, McAllen ISD has received the state's highest mark by the TEA School First Financial Integrity Rating System of Texas. Mrs. Adele Felix, the Assistant Superintendent for Business Operations, has got a little bit more information for us.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Pena.
Thank you, ma'am.
Tonight, we do have Ms. Iris Luna, our Chief Financial Officer, available to distribute a copy of the Annual Financial Accountability Management Report. If you'd like a copy, please raise your hand.
If anybody in the audience would like a copy of the report, just signify by putting your hand in the air.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Today, we will present the School Financial Integrity Rating System of Texas, referred to as the School First, based on data from fiscal year 2020 to 2021. The purpose of this hearing is to discuss McAllen ISD State of Texas Financial Accountability Rating. At the conclusion of this presentation, public participation is invited for comments. The district received an A for superior achievement, the state's highest rating for financial integrity. In fact, we did receive a perfect score. For the 15th out of 20 years, I'm just going to say that.
Wow.
We will go over the first objectives, goals, rating system, indicator updates, critical indicators, ceiling indicators, and all 20 first indicators. The objective of the first is to implement a rating system that fairly and equitably evaluates the quality of management decisions, to provide an analysis tool for assessment, to assess the quality of financial management, to publicly report this assessment, and inform that the financial data was gathered from the audited financial report as well as PEMS data. The first goals include to strengthen fiscal accountability, to improve performance and management finances, and to facilitate effective and efficient use of resources. The rating system, similar to our grading system, is as follows. Again, we did receive an A rating based on 2020-2021 data. Indicator updates. Beginning fiscal year 2021, the indicators increased from 15 to 20 and introduced 5 ceiling indicators. We are rated according to 20 indicators, including 4 critical indicators and 5 ceiling indicators. A negative response to any of the 4 critical indicators results in a rating of substandard achievement, equivalent to an F failing rating. A negative response to any of the 5 ceiling indicators supersedes any rating earned based on points. A negative response to all 5 ceiling indicators results in a substandard achievement rating, an F, a failing grade. The 4 critical indicators are as follows. Annual financial report not filed within 1 month after the November 27th deadline. Our report was submitted November 16th, 2021. Other than an unmodified opinion and or any material weakness identified in the audit by the external auditors. Any default in debt payments, and any default on payroll-related payments. The 5 ceiling indicators are as follows, and ask the question, did the school district meet the criteria for any of the following ceiling indicators? Timely payments, average change in fund balance, PEIMS to annual financial report, material weaknesses, property value, and tax discussion. The district was in compliance with all of these 5 ceiling indicators. Now we will go over the 20 indicators. 1 was a complete annual financial report and data submitted to the TEA within 30 days of November 27th deadline. Yes. Submitted November 16th, 2021. Was there an unmodified opinion to the annual financial report and the financial statements as a whole? Yes. Was the school district in compliance with the payment terms of all debt agreements at fiscal year end? Again, yes. Indicator 4. Did the school district make timely payments to Teacher Retirement System, Texas Workforce Commission, Internal Revenue Service, and other government agencies? Yes, meeting the ceiling indicator. Indicator 5 is no longer being scored due to the impact of accounting changes implemented by GASB. Number 6 was the average change in fund balances over 3 years less than a 25% decrease, or did the current year's assigned and unassigned fund balance exceed 75 days of operational expenditures? The average percentage change in fund balance was 0.0575. The fund balance exceeded the 75 days of operational expenditures, meeting the ceiling indicator. Indicator 7 was the number of days of cash on hand and current investments in the general fund for the school district sufficient to cover operating expenditures. We received 10 points as the number of days of cash on hand was 123.2293. Was the measure of current assets to current liability ratios for the school district sufficient to cover short-term debt? We received 10 points, a ratio of 3.8051 exceeded the target amount of 3.0. Did the school district's general fund revenue equal or exceed expenditures? We received 10 points, expenditures did not exceed general fund revenues. Halfway there, indicator 10. Indicator 10 was waived as is not being scored due to the impact of COVID-19 pandemic and ESSER funding on school district revenues. Indicator 11 was a ratio of long-term liabilities to total assets for the school district sufficient to support long-term solvency. We received 10 points. Ratio of 26.643% was sufficient to support long-term solvency. Number 12 was a debt for $100 of assessed property value ratio sufficient to support future debt repayments. We received 10 points. Ratio of 1.2408 was sufficient to support future debt repayments. Indicator 13 was the school district's administrative cost ratio equal to or less than the threshold ratio. We received 10 points. Cost ratio of 7.39% was less than the threshold ratio of 8.55%. 14, did the school district not have a 15% decline in the students to staff ratio over 3 years? We received 10 points. Had a 7.53% decline in students to staff ratio, which is less than the 15% threshold. Indicator 15 was also waived and not being scored due to the impact of COVID-19 pandemic on school district attendance. Indicator 16, did the comparison of PEIMS data to like information in the school district's annual financial report result in a total variance of less than 3% of all expenditures by function? MISD had a 0% variance in data, meeting the ceiling indicator. Number 17, did the external independent auditor report that the annual financial report was free of any instances of material weaknesses in internal controls over financial reporting and compliance for local, state, and federal funds? No material weaknesses in internal controls were reported in the June 30th, 2021 annual financial report, meeting the ceiling indicator. 18, did the external independent auditor indicate the annual financial report was free of any instances of material noncompliance for grants, contracts, and laws related to local, state, or federal funds? We received 10 points. No material noncompliance item was reported in the annual audited financial report. Number 19, did the school district post the required information on its website in accordance with all statutes? We received a total of 5 points. McAllen ISD posted the required financial information on its website. And our last indicator, did the school board members discuss the district's property values at a board meeting within 120 days before the district's adopted its budget? Yes, a board meeting was held May 13th, 2020 to discuss and consider the impact of changes in property values, meeting the ceiling indicator. So, that are all the 20 indicators. Again, if you would like a copy of our annual financial accountability management report, which discloses our Texas Administrative Code Chapter 109 disclosures, please let Iris Luna know. Anybody?
Somebody gave a copy. One copy.
One person? Okay. Thank you.
Great job. All right, this is the point of the meeting where we will open it up for public comment on the report given by Mrs. Adele Felix. Any takers? Any comments on our public hearing for the School Finance Integrity Rating System of Texas? None heard. We will close our public hearing for first. Congratulations, Mrs. Felix, to you and your crew.
Mr. President, if I may?
Yes, sir.
I just want to take this opportunity to thank Adele Felix. Thank you for your leadership as Assistant Superintendent for Business Operations. It's very difficult. Also to Iris Luna, the entire money team. Thank you all for everything that you do. I especially want to thank our board for all the time that you spend away from your families. This would not be possible if you look at the magnitude of what this is. I think a lot of times we're a high-performing school district, so we don't have the opportunity to stand beside ourselves and really see the hard work, but this board provides the oversight necessary, the expertise, comes from different walks of life, and when you bring that synergy together, it just helps the administration do what we're doing. So what a heck of a team effort. And just to kind of put it in context, an A-rated school district on the accountability side, post-secondary readiness as a district, A on the first, and if you look at school districts with 20,000 students or more across the state of Texas, McAllen ISD is the only one that hit all three indicators. So congratulations to all.
All right, moving on to item number 9.
Mr. President, may I like to move up item 11C, discussion possible action and adopt proclamation regarding National School Bus Safety Week, since our staff is outside waiting.
We have a request to redo the agenda by Trustee Alvarado and a second by Trustee Saldivar. All in favor of bringing up the agenda item signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Aye.
The ayes carry it 5-1. We need a motion to accept the proclamation. We have not,
I move to accept the proclamation.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Trustee Saldivar and a second by Trustee Alvarado to adopt the action, adopt the proclamation. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. The ayes carry it 6-0. So we're moving on to item 11C. This is the proclamation regarding National School Bus Safety Week. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. National School Bus Week is celebrated annually to recognize school bus drivers in McAllen ISD. We honor our school bus drivers as they deliver our precious cargo across the city and to events across our community. So our bus drivers are key to our success in our school district. We have Mr. Tony Forina, our board president, who will read a proclamation. We also have Ms. Alejandra Gonzalez, our assistant superintendent for district operations, who will introduce our outstanding bus drivers. So at this time, I'll pass it over to our board president.
Thank you, Dr. Gonzalez. The proclamation reads, State of Texas, County of Hidalgo, McAllen Independent School District. Whereas approximately 480,000 yellow school buses carry 25 million children to and from school every weekday. These buses comprise the largest mass transportation fleet in the country. Whereas school buses meet higher construction, equipment, and inspection standards than any other vehicle, making them 8 times safer than traveling in a passenger vehicle, and school bus drivers meet higher qualification, training, and testing standards than any other drivers. And whereas School Bus Safety Week, which is sponsored by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, was created in 1966 to remind all students of the best ways to get on and off the bus, and also recognize the hard work and dedication of school transportation personnel. Whereas McAllen ISD's bus drivers logged approximately 750,000 miles last year. That's enough to circle the earth more than 30 times. Therefore, I, Tony Forina, President of the Board of Trustees of the McAllen Independent School District, do hereby proclaim the week of October 17th as National School Bus Safety Week. I call upon all residents to join the dedicated individuals who administer the National School Bus Program in appropriate activities that support the safe transportation and well-being of our children. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the McAllen Independent School District to be affixed on this 24th day of October, 2022, and it is attested by our school board secretary, Trustee Marcos Suarez. How about a round of applause? 750,000 miles, and we get alerted of every incident that happens within McAllen ISD. And it's very rare that we get the bus incidents. So we're very proud of this crew. And Ms. Gonzalez, if you would do us a favor and introduce them all, please.
Yes, sir. This evening we have Selena Ibarra, Maria Chavez, Sonia Villegas, Efraín Ruiz, Yunes Santos, Francisco Puente, Mirtala Gómez, Rosa Sauceda, Silvia Olivares, María Garza, Irma Lozoya, Rigo Coronado, Ofelia Cuevas, Martina Ollervides, Angélica Hostos, Adrian Guerrero, our Assistant Director, Alicia Ginés, and our Transportation Director, Erica Flores.
Whoa. You have to stand right here. We have to stand right here.
Guest of honor.
1, 2, 3.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, dear Mama Ray. Happy birthday to you.
me right here in the microphone, please. Sure. In the microphone, ma'am.
Gotta be on the record.
Yeah, so we want to share that Montserrat is a very special student, not only to our, because she's a child of our 2 bus drivers, but she also shows up to work every day with her parents at 6 a.m. without fail. Wow. And she wants to be a teacher for McAllen ISD when she grows up.
She's hired.
It's done.
Get that college sun started.
All right, let's get a picture. Let's try to come together a little bit. Go back. That'll work. Very good. All right, big smiles, everyone. Ready? 1, 2, 3. One more. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Awesome. Very good.
It's good to see all the enthusiasm and you get to route.
Thank you all so much. Thanks so much. I was going to lift it for you.
Doodling on you? Okay.
Oh. And then she went, yes, she tried to self-regulate.
There we go.
All right, we get back to our regular board agenda item. Item number 9, Superintendent's Report. 9A, the 4th Annual Superintendent's Fishing for Kids Tournament. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. We're very excited. I know that this event is our 4th annual, and it's all for kids. Last year, we raised approximately $80,000 in conjunction with the STARS Scholarship Fund and through the McAllen Education Foundation. So the 4th annual is another successful event. We haven't come up with a bottom dollar, but it's going to be somewhere in the same neighborhood. So we have a short video that highlights that event. We're excited to be at Jim's Pier, South Padre Island for the 4th annual McAllen ISD Superintendent's Fishing for Kids Tournament. It was a great turnout. I want to thank all the sponsors that came out, all the anglers. A special thank you to the McAllen Education Foundation and the STAR Scholarship Fund. All the proceeds go to students in the form of scholarships. Last year we were able to team up and raise approximately $80,000. So it's another example of McAllen ISD going the extra mile for our students. So for everybody that took part, thank you so much.
Here with McAllen ISD, we work together, we build a relationship, so we're glad to be part of that, and we're here to support not only our students, but our community as well.
Oh, we love it. We love it. Ron Hoover is always a big part of helping the children. Great tournament, great events you guys put together. We were here last year, and we look forward to being here next year and years to come. So thank you so much.
What a great time that weekend was. And again, you know, when we talk about the STAR Scholarship Fund, everybody thinks of scholarships and it's going to students. But again, I continue to push that if we have teachers that want to go from their bachelor's to their master's or their master's to their doctorate, the STAR Scholarship Fund can help you as well with different agreements with schools across the state of Texas. It's something to look into. So again, thanks to our partners at STARS and at the McAllen Education Foundation. Moving on to item 9B, let's move, the McAllen Kids Marathon Kickoff Event.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. On that same weekend, we held our 9th annual McAllen Kids Marathon Kickoff Mile at DQ Fan Field at McAllen Veterans Memorial Stadium. The attendance was the best we've ever had, and we appreciate our partnership with the City of McAllen, and that's what makes this event possible, and we have a video that highlights this wonderful event.
The Alvarez from Khaki Middle School. Starting our 2022 T-ball mile. We'll do our first mile and get it in. I've got trustee Sophia Peña here with me.
Mr. President.
Thank you, Dr. Gonzalez. Great work, sir.
Thank you.
Moving on to item number 12, donations none to report. So item 13, the board members, board committees, and district reports. Item 13A1, the instructional services briefing. The chair is trustee Sofia Merced Peña.
Oh my gosh. Yes, thank you for pronouncing my name correctly. We had a good meeting and a lot of discussions, some proclamations that have already gone through, and then requests for approval on purchasing of library books, ebooks, textbooks, some professional development site licenses, special education equipment and supplies, career and technology materials, and also some interlocal agreements with South Texas College on our dual credit programs, and then also some agreements and action on the participation of students that participate in the Nutcracker and other dance events. And so, good meeting, lots of good discussion. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Dr. De Hoyos.
Item 13A2, the human resources briefing. The chair is Mr. Trustee Daniel Vela.
Thank you, Mr. President. Some of these items we've already covered earlier in the meeting. I'll go over some that we may not have. Resignations. We have coming up a possible agreement for the drug impairment and behavior recognition, educational professionals with Texas A&M, list of teacher evaluations, T-test, discussion possible action on pharmacy benefits management services, and assistant director for support services. I guess that was it, Mr. Rick.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Item 13A3, the district operations briefing. Running the show will be Trustee Sofia Peña.
Thank you, Mr. President. We discussed, thank you, Ms. Gonzalez, for the good meeting. We discussed national school bus safety. We're going to be hearing from our FMO group on the monthly report, and then we got some final payments out for some materials at the memorial roof, and also an amendment to a realtor contract to an RFP for cybersecurity, and a resolution for hazardous traffic areas, and also, that is it. Sorry.
Thank you, ma'am. Item 13A4, the business operations briefing. The chair is Trustee Debbie Crane Aliceda.
No report.
Thank you, ma'am. Item 13A5, the board officers briefing. Trustee Suarez, Trustee Aliceda, and myself had a chance to sit down with Dr. Gonzalez and put the agenda together. Item 13B1, the report regarding intentions to apply for school-based mental health services, the grant through the U.S. Department of Education. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. The purpose of the school-based mental health services grant is to provide local educational agencies impacted by COVID-19 an opportunity to recruit and retain mental health credentialed staff to provide support and services to students in need. We have Ms. Norma Cabrera, our Director of College Career and Counseling Department, who will share more information on this report, and this item is for information purposes only. Welcome, Ms. Cabrera.
Good evening. We're very excited to be able to apply for this grant. This grant is from $500,000 to $3 million a year for 5 years. Right now, with the proposal that we have, we are anticipating 1.7 million a year for 5 years, which is 8.7 million. This is one of the first times that these grants are available to districts. These grants are federal grants that are usually available to state agencies. But now, because of recent events at Uvalde and other places, now districts are able to participate and apply for these grants. We're excited. We want to bring in licensed professional counselors and LSSPs, which are licensed school psychologists. We do have licensed school psychologists right now, but they primarily work with special education. But we have students that do not participate in special education who also need that level of support. So it is an intense grant. We're very excited that we have the opportunity to apply.
All right. Any questions for? Yes, ma'am.
I don't have questions, but I have a comment. I'm really proud of your team, Dr. De Hoyos and Ms. Cabrera, because I think this is super important. I think we need to, anytime we have extra resources, of course, I'm always going to advocate for safety, and this is part of that. You know, our kids are going through a lot these days, and so if we can secure this grant for 5 years, really going to make a difference to all of our kids in our community. So thank you very much for putting in that effort. I know it's not easy.
Thank you.
Just a quick question.
Trustee Alvarado.
Is most of the hiring will go for additional staff?
Additional staff, sir. Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Cabrera. We appreciate that. Moving on to item 13B2, the report regarding facilities, maintenance and operations projects. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. This is a monthly report from our Facilities Maintenance and Operations Department. We have Mr. Ruben Trevino, our Executive Director for Facilities Maintenance and Operations, who will guide us through this month's projects, and this item is for information purposes only. Welcome, Mr. Trevino.
Good evening, members of the board, Superintendent Gonzalez. I'll be presenting on the ongoing and completed projects that we currently have in the district. Well, I'll be starting off with the our track and turf projects. Track and turf projects that we have currently going on at our 3 comprehensive high schools. Here you see the pictures of the subsurface for the track installation at McAllen High School. On our next slide, we have the softball and baseball fields. We're now completed at Rowe High School and Memorial High School, both fields. We expect substantial completion to be granted to us either tomorrow or the day after, and McAllen High School is following right behind. Our next slide is our HVAC upgrades that we currently have going on at both Lamar and Rowe High School. On the right, you'll see the new chiller plant that is going up. That picture was taken probably about 10, 12 days ago. We now have the chillers in place. We received them a week ago, and we are ready to start the hookups. We also have the chillers on schedule to arrive December for Lamar IB Academy as well. And we have those 2 buildings fully complete at Lamar IB as well by now. Our next slide is a black box and mariachi theater centers that we currently have for the 3 comprehensive high schools. They are in the process of attaining the pricing for the GMP. We also have the cafeteria expansion and modifications at McAllen High School and Lamar on the assessment phase right now. The Memorial High School chiller has been ordered already, and the McAllen ISD UTRGV Collegiate Academy is in the process right now of going through with the contract. We also have the Travis Middle School roof upgrades, which have started already. We've had our pre-construction meeting. We have the surveillance camera upgrades, which are ongoing at both De Leon and Morris. Waiting on equipment to arrive for installation to commence. And we also have the chiller replacements at both Fossum and Morris Middle School. Here we have the middle school cafeteria upgrades. These are pictures of Brown and De Leon. As you can see, they're ongoing every day. We're working together with the Child Nutrition Program and working side by side on these projects. We also have our ESSER department, which is going out there and doing some of their monthly visits at the campuses, and these projects are going smooth at the time. We have our Jackson and Gonzalez cafeterias that are also getting expanded on the same funding, and they're ongoing. On the bottom, you can see part of the two cafeterias that are getting an expansion and major remodeling to their kitchen areas. We also have the chiller replacements that have been ordered and are expected to be here in the next months for the elementaries, Fields, Castañeda, Wilson, Hendricks, Perez, Sanchez, and Milam. And we also have the roof replacements, which are already ongoing at both Houston and Roosevelt elementaries. We have the gym restroom partitions that have now been completed for Gonzalez, Rayburn, and Escandon. This slide here is the Wilson and Seguin Elementary front entrance remodels. On the left-hand side, you see the new entrance that was created over at Wilson Elementary. Now we have a new front door that walks into a more secure vestibule. We reworked that whole vestibule area, which now anybody that goes in is now guided through a separate door versus the door that you would go into the big corridor area between the cafeteria and the front entrance. On the right-hand side, you see the starting the project for Seguin. The cutout was done over this past weekend, and the Seguin vestibule will be a lot smaller, but it'll have the reception area similar to other schools, so that you're able to check in before going into the rest of the hallway as well. We also have the cafeteria expansion and modifications at the following campuses: Garza, Wilson, Rayburn, and Roosevelt. We met last week. We had a construction meeting. We expect to take this out to bid by the month of November, and then we'll have Escandon, Milam, and Seguin that are following on the assessment phase. We also have the McAllen Veterans Memorial Press Box, which is ongoing. The elevator shaft is already being poured, and CMU is being laid. We have the foundation that's already been poured, and the steel has been going through the galvanized process, and it's in the process of being delivered to the site as well. We also have the Crockett Fire Alarm Project that is ongoing, and the safety fencing upgrades district-wide that we've been working on. Here you see our staff development front entrance. We've modified the front entrance to our staff development building over at Achieve Early College High School. We've now added a safety entrance vestibule. We now have those safety doors. Those safety doors, we were able to reuse them. That's what we currently had at Bonham, so we went ahead and moved them, and we're now using them at our staff development for all of our staff development trainings and sessions that go on weekends and after hours. We have the Crockett roof replacement, the Navarro chiller replacement, and the Navarro bilingual department remodel that will be commencing here in the weeks to come. And we have the work order submitted and completed, 1509 and 1026. This concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Trevino. Any questions or comments for Mr. Trevino? Trustee Saldivar.
Thank you. During our briefing with Assistant Superintendent Ms. Gonzalez, one of the items that was on the agenda as of Friday morning, it's not on tonight, we took it off, but it's on this report. And that regards the Collegiate High School with the agreement with Noble Texas Builders LLC, and kind of want to know, my understanding everything was set. We were looking at about $71 million savings in the contract. We were all set to it come tonight. What might have happened?
71,000.
71,000, sir.
Yes. Did I say what?
You said million.
Oh, sorry.
We wish.
Yeah.
71,000.
That'd be great.
71,000, yes, sir.
Thank you for
That'd be
correcting.
headlines.
Yes, we were wrapping up some final negotiations on Friday with Noble, and everything's good to go for a special board meeting at this point. We just wanted to make sure all Ts were crossed and all Is were dotted, and so we're ready to go.
All right, so there's no concerns, there's no
No, sir.
reason for
No, sir, no,
making
sir.
them move forward? 'Cause
No.
We're on a tight time schedule.
Yeah,
You
no,
know
no,
better than anybody.
yes, no concerns.
All right, thank you. And then on the Crockett, how much is that roof gonna cost to replace?
We're evaluating that, and that is the last of our hail damage savings that we accumulated through some of our other roofs that were pending. And we're estimating to be within the $500,000 to $700,000 range right now. We're putting all the buildings separately so that we're able to see what we're able to do within the budget that we have available.
So it's, I know it's budgeted for 700,000.
Yes.
So you think it's And I also know that the remaining balance of the hail was $300,000.
Correct, and there's some additional savings there, both hail and maintenance tax note that we were applied to that project.
Gotcha. And how much did the fire alarm, will the fire alarm cost?
I don't have that number with me, but I want to say it's in the 170 to 180 range.
170,000 to
Yes.
180,000?
We can have that number for you.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much for your report on all the
Sure.
work. I just have one other question. Is there any reason at any given time that an assignment would be made to do any work on any campus without a work order? And if so, how does that work, and when is that circumvented, and why would it be
In
circumvented?
an emergency, sir, we can perform any work at any campus, but then again, a work order will follow right afterwards.
And what type of emergency would be the incident?
Emergency meaning we need to send someone out, we had a power outage, we may have had a chiller that went out, we may have had a water leak in the building, chiller line break, anything like that, dealing with safety that ties in with any maintenance work.
Thank you. Thank you again, Mr. Freeman.
Trustee Alvarado.
Just on this one, report right here, the work orders, submitted and what's completed. A while back, asked for something like that, just because before you started, there were some questions of work orders being completed, so I would, just wanted to kind of track to see where we're at. I know I say it all the time, but it doesn't really tell me anything, so I guess what I'm gonna ask, is there anything preventing us from doing the work orders? Is it lack of staff, is it lack of equipment, lack of, anything like that? Because I don't think we need to see that anymore, unless there's issues
Correct.
that are preventing us from doing our work.
No, and over the last, I'm gonna say 7 years, we've been presenting this number
Yeah.
monthly,
Right.
to the board. And a work order, I'll stick to the same thing. A work order can range from a project that can last 2 months to a project that can be closed, to a work order that can be closed out within a 2-hour period. So they range quite a bit. So the number tells somewhat of a story, but not
It didn't tell.
the reality,
But
because.
I guess you would tell us if there's an issue. I guess that's where I'm going, like if we need more resources or what have you.
Correct. Yes, sir.
That's what I was coming from with that, because I don't ask anymore, because, there's, if we did, then I'd say, well, we're 400, what happened to those 400 work orders? Then you guys spend more time to tell me that it's just, and I don't want to do that, so that's irrelevant, and I might be the only one that doesn't see the use of that. You might just focus on something else. Our future work that hasn't not yet started, something like that, or,
Or if you'd like, we can compile it quarterly or yearly, whichever.
But I like it a little bit more, though, is there anything, a reason why some of them are not being done? Is it lack
Some of it
equipment?
could be lead time on the equipment, so sometimes there's a little bit of a delay, so you won't get to see that clean, balancing out the 1509 to the 1509. So that could cause some delays on the lead time.
It's not a big deal, it's just, we see it every month, and, no one really asks you, well, why is it 400 outstanding, right? So, go ahead, sorry, Sam.
Well, just to tag off what you're saying, I think it's important if one board member says something like that you get some support if you agree, and I tend to agree with you. There was a time prior to your arrival where there were a lot of issues with this, and I think that's all been addressed. But just as you mentioned, it doesn't tell me a whole lot unless we get into some relevance by category. And I don't know at the board level we need to know that unless there's a situation in which, and I mean by category, it'd be like security, chillers, roof, plumbing, where you break it into type of job categories. If you had that, that would kind of make sense, but I don't know if we need to know that at our level. So I don't know if we need this slide unless it has some specifics to go along with it to explain why is there a 400 difference. And in the end, at our level, that's your responsibility.
Yeah.
Correct.
So as long as they're getting done, I'm not overly concerned with this slide. That's just my thought.
Mr. President, if I may?
Yes, sir.
I did want to commend Facilities Maintenance and Operation. I know Mrs. Gonzalez and Ruben and the team have taken work orders to the next level from a practitioner standpoint, where now somebody that submits a work order can track it. Used to, you'd submit a work order and then it got done or it didn't. Now you submit it and you can track it. You can keep track of where it is with progression and is it not been done because it's a material thing or a supply thing or so. I think that That creates an environment where the person that submits it feels like their submission is honored, and then they can be patient. Because a lot of times when they don't know, that's when somebody becomes impatient. But to your point, if it's a safety concern, and we jump right on it.
Yes, sir.
Good work.
Thank you.
Great work, thank you. Thank you, sir.
Mr.
First-
Farina,
Yes, sir, trustee Vella.
point, counterpoint. When we started doing this was because we didn't have any idea where we were. And we developed the program, and I think we even have a tracking mechanism on our operations that tracks. People were complaining that light bulbs weren't being changed. Well, that's a work order. So we started tracking them this way to see where we were. It's a barometer, so to speak, of how the operations is working. Many times we'll see that number flipped, and you ask, well, how can they do more work than was ordered? Well, it's the backlog of stuff that they get to do. So valuable just to be sure that, to me, to know where we are, and I think it's valuable to Ruben as well that knows where operations are as well.
That is correct.
Point, counterpoint.
Thank you, sir. We do have some inclement weather coming in tonight with some high gusty winds, so be ready for that.
It comes off a computer, and he just prints the
Yeah, as
deal,
long
and
as
it's
not
real
spending a lot
easy,
of
so
time
it's not a
into it,
big
that's
deal.
fine. Yeah,
Right,
you're
Ruben?
I just got notified right now.
Thanks. All right, let's move on to item 13B3, the report regarding taxes collected for September 2022. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. Mrs. Adele Felix, our Assistant Superintendent for Business Operations, will report on the monthly taxes collected by the Hidalgo County Tax Office on behalf of McAllen ISD for September 2022. This item is for information purposes only. Mrs. Felix.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Gonzalez. As of September 2022, total taxes collected to date are $1,002,567.99. Our percent comparison in delinquent is 15.29% compared to 15.38% comparable to prior year at this point. That concludes our report.
Thank you, ma'am. Item 13B4, the report regarding the monthly financial investment report for July 2022, also by Mrs. Adele Felix. She'll present the monthly financials for July 2022 for information purposes only.
Thank you, President Florina. For the month of July 31st, 2022, year-to-date revenues, actual revenues of $1,736,910, total expenditures of $6,459,877, resulting in expenditures over revenues of $4,722,968. For the month of July 2022, our ending market value is $175,297,696, with an average yield to maturity for a period of 1.321%, which is slightly increasing, which is good news. And also, our interest earning for the month, collected to date for this fiscal year, is $191,406.18. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Item 13B5, the report regarding the intention to apply for the Grow Your Own Grant Program, Cycle 6. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. The Grow Your Own Grant Program, Cycle 6, is for local education agencies to build strong, stable, and diverse teacher pipelines within their own communities based on district needs. The grant is intended to address teacher shortages in hard-to-staff areas, close demographic gaps between students and teachers, and build interest in the teaching profession among high school students. Ms. Laura Williams, our Director for Special Funding, will present the report, and this item is for information purposes only. Welcome, Mrs. Williams.
Thank you, Dr. Gonzalez, and good evening, Dr. Gonzalez and Board of Trustees. As Dr. Gonzalez just mentioned, we did apply as of October 13th for the GYO Grow Your Own Cycle 6. This is a carryover from our T-Class Decision 4A that we currently have, where we have 4 instructional assistants within the district that are going through their educational prep program and will become certified in special ed and other bilingual, and then math, secondary math, 3 of our areas that are considered hard-to-staff areas within the district. So if we are lucky to receive this grant, we will take 6 recipients, instructional aides from across the district, to help them pursue their teaching certification, again, in the areas that are high needs for our district. And we will award them approximately $7,500 to go towards living expenses, tuition, and fees. And that is our GYO Cycle 6 in a nutshell.
Great news. Any comments, questions?
Mr. President,
Trustee Saldivar.
That's for the teacher certification only?
That is the pathway that, there's two pathways, Pathway 1 and then Pathway 2. Pathway 2 is the one that we will pursue, and that's for our 6 instructional assistants for teacher certification only.
Okay, what about the bachelor's degree in teacher certification? Are we doing that?
No, sir, we are not. Based upon our previous, or current, T-Class Decision 4A, all of our 36 potential recipients, all of them had their bachelor's degrees already, so that's why we chose, working with Mr. Kraunz, HR Director, chose to go teacher certification only.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
For your work. Thank you, Mr. President.
Any other questions, comments? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Item 13B6, the report regarding ESSER 1, Coronavirus Response and Relief Supplemental Appropriations and American Rescue Plan Act update. Dr. Gonzalez.
Ms. Williams, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Okay, I know we have not had an ESSER update in quite some time, so I am proud and pleased to be here tonight to discuss our ESSER 1, 2, and 3. As you see before you are our goals that are aligned to our strategic plan as it relates to ESSER 1, 2, and 3. ESSER 1, we are in our closeout period. That ended on September 30th, 2022. So again, we are in our closeout for ESSER 1. ESSERs 2 and 3, we are continuing through September of 2023 and or September of 2024. The next few slides are based upon our current expenditures, our current budget, which was devised from feedback from all of our stakeholders from across the community as well as ELT, based upon survey and needs of our campuses and our district as a whole. This slide here shows our current payroll that is also embedded in our next 4 slides, which are our 4 main areas: student learning, student needs, emergency closure, and safety. Again, our current budget for each one of these areas, the expenditures to date, and then the balance. And then the last slide speaks to our current and or pending projects. A lot of them, what Mr. Trevino just spoke to, our black boxes, our school kitchen infrastructure upgrades, our campuses that we're currently working on, and then the pending campuses. Then the HVAC current projects and pending, and then the UTRGV McAllen ISD Collegiate Academy. And that concludes the quick update of ESSERs 1, 2, and 3.
Thank you, ma'am. Any questions?
I have a question.
Trustee Saldivar.
At this point, you mentioned there was some expenditures, and there's still some money that's set aside. But your projections are that as we move throughout, and those other projects that you listed are completed, we should be at a zero sum at what point?
By the end of September 2024, ESSER 1 is 100%, ESSER 2 is based upon drawdowns is 100%, and we're at approximately 34 to 35% as far as ESSER 3.
But all the rest of those funds are committed at this point?
Yes, sir.
What about the $4 million for Quinta?
That is on hold as of right now, and that was with talks with McAllen, the city of McAllen, and Quinta, due to not having a current contractor on staff. Once that current contractor comes available, then we would continue with the MOU unless there's other things that come about at that point in time.
I do want to add that the money is committed to the project.
Yes.
It's just on hold as far as drawdowns for Quinta, as they're still negotiating their agreement.
And they're negotiating at this time?
Yes.
Correct.
We have not heard a final negotiation.
So what's the anticipated time for that negotiation?
We don't have.
We don't
one at
have a
this point, but
timeline.
We'll get with them. We've been communicating with them. They went out again for bids as well. So we're waiting on their results, and then they'll communicate with us.
So our part in that is releasing those funds.
Correct.
So we're not having to worry about construction, timetables, or any of that.
Correct.
Correct.
So we have ample time to 2024 to be able to release those funds.
Yes, sir.
Now, if something should occur, though, when we would have to make some decision on that, so that we might have a need within our district if we do have a need for the
Well,
$4 million.
I would say, once they figure out if it's going forward, and if it's within a reasonable timeline, then we will have to come back for discussion as far as what would happen if their project chooses not to continue within our timeframe.
Would it be fair to say that by June of 2023, if we haven't made a commitment on that, we have one more year to go, correct? That
Correct, we
the
have one more
board
year
should
to
be
go.
able to have some discussion as to what we do that during that budget cycle.
We can bring it up to discussion.
Is that a fair thing to say?
That could be,
Excuse me?
yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Trustee Alvarado.
Just a follow-up question. I know we made one payment right about
Correct.
900,000 to them. And just to go on record, I would prefer them pay it back to us because it's sitting in their account earning interest. So we don't know how long this is going to go out. So I prefer them to return that money for us to be allocated. I know it's allocated the $4 million, but it's sitting in their account. So at some point, I would like for it.
There were fees assessed to those, so it's not per se sitting in their account. They are actually paid out, some for design and things like of that nature.
Without a contract.
Correct.
To me, that sounds like that's their
Well,
responsibility.
the pre-construction fees.
Right,
associated
and
with it.
they got, I mean, how much is that total project, 160 million?
No.
We can get more details on that.
Well, that was, I'm sorry, it wasn't 160, but it was, what was your, the bid for? Oh, no, it was, I'm sorry, I said 160. It was about 56 million or something like that? No, I don't know the total project.
I will ask administration to reach out and get us an update on that.
Yes, sir.
City Commission approved negotiation with 2 contractors this afternoon at their meeting for the Quinta project. The original budget was 35 million, COVID hit, and it ballooned to 58 million, and they brought it back for renegotiation. I understand the numbers are quite lower than the $58 million. But they haven't finalized that number until they negotiate with the 2 contractors they're dealing with.
The key is we still have ample time. And so-
Right.
But I also think at some point, we need to be briefed as to what to do next with that. And I would suggest no additional money on this project be released out of that until the contract's actually set and we go into motion.
Yes.
And if I may, Trustee Saldivar, that is the agreement that we have with the City of McAllen Quinta currently. And that's with discussions with Ms. Gonzalez, Ms. Felix, myself, Ms. Hook, with Quinta Mazatlan, and then the city. That nothing else would be paid out until they enter into a new contract.
So, if it just goes away, are they gonna pay us that 900,000 back?
We have to negotiate something, but yes, we would have to, if the project does not happen, we would have to talk about how we're gonna get that money
So
back.
how do we pay it out if they don't have a contract?
We were provided.
That-
Go ahead.
Okay, that was based upon the contractor that was previously hired and expenditures, $735,000 toward land, and then other expenditures for design.
There's no legal issues, right? I'm asking a school attorney.
I'm not familiar with the contract. I would have to look at the contract.
Could you please? To
Or
me,
I
it
would-
just,
not the contract, if you're saying there isn't, I would have to look at the issues. I'll talk to her.
could you please say and bring that back? I'm just curious for my own, you know, it just sounds, if they pulled it back, they should pay for it and told us our $4 million is due when they get a new contract. I don't see them, if we were gonna do the scoreboard and we didn't have someone in the contract, they pay us money and they'd feel comfortable with that. So I mean, the city manager does a great job protecting the city. I think we need to do, you know, and we do a great job protecting us, but that's still under 900,000 that I'm a little worried about.
As we wrote out our MOU, we did include that it would be the purchase of land, the initial which includes the 735 that Ms. Williams mentioned. But we'll go over with legal, we'll
I'm just
discuss it,
curious.
and we'll bring it back.
And if it's
Yes.
great, no problem. You can just say, no issue legal. I'm just curious for myself.
Just one last comment real quick. I'd understood this was an interlocal agreement, not a memorandum of understanding.
I'm sorry, I may have used that incorrectly.
Because they are different, and so
Correct, yes.
I understood that we went for an interlocal agreement. So just verifying.
Yes.
But that's what I understood.
I misspoke.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Great report.
Thank
All right.
you. Thank you.
Item 13B7, the report regarding the intention to apply for House Bill 3, HB 3, Teacher Incentive Allotment. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. The Texas Education Agency has presented a grant opportunity for teacher incentive allotment. These allotment funds will help Texas schools systems recruit, reward, and retain highly effective teachers. with particular emphasis on high need and low socioeconomic and rural schools. We have Ms. Laura Williams, our Director for Special Funding, who will present the report, and this is for information purposes only. Ms. Williams.
Thank you, Dr. Gonzalez. This state funding that we are very excited to join the teacher incentive allotment as cohort F. Like Dr. Gonzalez did state, this is all due to the 86th Texas Legislature in 2019 as part of House Bill 3, being able to provide the additional funding or funding for teachers in our great district to reward them. The three main goals of the TIA or teacher incentive allotment is to recruit, reward, and then retain based upon designations of recognized, exemplary, and masters. The application will come available November 1st. We have until April 13th of 2023 to apply, again as cohort F, and I will be bringing updates, routine updates on our progress as we proceed towards that April 13th date regarding TIA teacher incentive allotment.
Any questions for Ms. Williams?
Mr. President, yes.
Yes, sir, Trustee Saldívar.
As of today, 179 school districts have gone through the process. I don't know how many are going through it now. Do you know where we are in place with everybody else that's going through this?
I know there were 5 districts within the Region 1 area that had not applied as of this summer, and we were one of those 5, us, Sherryland, and then 3 extremely small districts. So now we will join cohort F. I can get the final numbers for you.
You know, because I was a little surprised we hadn't gotten in there earlier on because it's a lengthy time period that you have to go through this. But
Yes, sir.
I understand the administration was exploring different options. Yeah, I understand that. But now up to 179 districts have done it. But only 6,246 have been designated teachers within these categories. And so the school district gets to decide, and by the way, it's spent so far this year alone $55,437,701 towards teachers. Those 6,246 teachers. How many teachers are you planning to designate? Because the district would determine in their plan how many they wish to designate. Do you know?
Not at this time, we do not. Again, as we continue, we've just started the very initial discussions of teacher incentive allotment, and we have not decided how we will come about designating our teachers based upon the 3 areas, the recognized exemplary masters. Again, we are just in the very beginning stages, and we'll have further updates as we continue forward in how we're going to design our plan for the TIA.
Also, which campuses are you planning at this time? Do you have any idea? Is that still also in the planning stage?
That is still in the planning stages, yes, sir.
Now, certain teachers aren't going to be eligible for this, right?
Our goal is to, as we move forward from, it is a 5-year allotment or funding period, as you had mentioned. It does take some time. We will start off with a particular group and then move forward. Our goal is to be able to have as many of our teachers across the district designated as possible based upon our plan that we put in place.
Yeah, it says interim and probationary certificates are not eligible. But we don't have any of those within our district at this time.
I would have to get with HR on that, sir.
But if we do, they wouldn't be eligible.
It's teachers of records or anybody that are coded in 087 based upon PEMS data.
Thank you very much for your work on this. I'm glad
Thank
we're
you.
moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Saldívar. Thank you, Ms. Williams.
Thank you.
Item 13B8, discussion of intruder detection audit report findings. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. To ensure the safety of all McAllen ISD students and staff, the district is in the process of undergoing intruder detection audits. We have Captain Montemayor, who has some information on this particular item, and this item is for information purposes only. Captain, welcome.
Good afternoon, Superintendent and the trustees. Basically, the background and the information will be on Tuesday, September 13th, Texas School Safety Center intruder detection audit was conducted, and the results were the finding of the correction action be implemented. Part of the implementation was a correction measure was in-person training that conducted for all appropriate staff was conducted on September 23rd. The training covered safety pertaining the importance of securing basically our doors to be secured all the time. McAllen ISD Police Department did conduct the training. They also did the corrective measures and plan and met the Texas School Safety Center requirements, and also met with the School Safety Security Committee team regarding the findings and the correction actions.
All right. Any questions for Captain Montemayor? Thank you, Captain.
Thank you.
We appreciate your hard work. Moving on to the consent agenda items. We have items 14A through 14N.
Approval for 14A through 14N.
Before we do that, do we have any that would like to be removed from the consent
I'll
agenda?
pull my motion back.
Thank you, sir.
14J, I'd like.
All right.
I'd like to move for items 14I, from A to I, and then K through N. Took me a while. Can't read my handwriting.
14A through I and 14K through N. Is there a second? Thank you, Trustee Vela. All in favor to approve 14A through I and K through N signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The ayes have it, 5-0. So we'll bring up item 14J, possible action on a request for proposal number 2023-1014, cybersecurity liability insurance. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. Administration solicited proposals for cybersecurity liability insurance. We have Ms. Alejandra Gonzalez, our Assistant Superintendent for District Operations, and Ms. Judith Escamilla, our Executive Director for Technology, who are available to answer any questions if needed. And we are requesting action on this item. Ms. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. At this, do you have any questions, Board? Ms. Judith Escamilla is not here, but we did receive, two responses on that, and we are recommending Frost Insurance Agency for this particular one.
Okay. And what's the premium amount for that?
It's a $3 million coverage
For how long?
for 1 year. They won't go longer than a year at this point. That's all they're insuring.
And what was the previous amount that we were paying annually for this coverage?
You know what? I don't have that
But you
information
said,
with me. Let me
what is the
find-
premium, not the coverage?
No, it's
The coverage is $3 million.
Coverage,
Oh,
what's the premium?
What does it cost?
It's $56,039 a year.
56,000?
Yes, sir. $56,039 a year. I
Okay, that's what
apologize for that.
concerned me, because I understood in our conversation it was the premium is
The coverage is 3 million.
coverage is
Yeah,
three.
3 million.
So that's the reason I pulled it, because I was a little concerned, because I didn't remember hearing that number in our premium before. I'm good now that it's
Okay.
56.
Yes, 56,000.
It's okay, because I just spoke earlier, so we're good. Thank you.
All right.
I move that we approve item 14J.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on the floor. Any comments, questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The ayes carry it 5-0. Moving on to item 15A1, discussion and possible action on the participation of MISD students in the Rio Grande Valley Ballet Company, The Nutcracker. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. Administration is requesting that our McAllen ISD students who participate in the production of the Nutcracker be counted present during rehearsal and performances that are held during the school day. And we have Ms. Deborah Loya, our Director for Fine Arts, who will share more information if needed. Administration is recommending action on this item.
Move to approve, Mr. President.
We have a motion on the floor. Is there a second? We have a second. Any comments or questions?
Yes, Mr. President, this is, I'm glad the administration, we had this issue years ago, but in the last several years, the administration has come up with a really good solution for the children and their families and the program, so I really appreciate this continuing.
Thank you, Trustee Saldivar. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The ayes carry it 5-0. Item 15A2, discussion and possible action on the participation of MISD students in the Edinburgh Dance Theater production of The Nutcracker.
So moved.
We have a motion on the
Second.
floor. Is there a second? Thank you, Trustee Peña. Any comments or questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The ayes carry it 5-0. Item 15B1, discussion and possible action on the 2022-2023 list of certified Texas Teacher Evaluation and Support System (TTES) appraisers. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir, Mr. President.
We have a motion
Rock
on the
and roll.
floor by Trustee Alvarado. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second by Sophie Merced Peña. Any comments or questions? None heard. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The ayes carry it 5-0. Item 15B2, discussion and possible action on request for proposal number 2023-1003, Pharmacy Benefits Management Services, and agreement number 2023-099 with Matrix Quality Care, doing business as Araya. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. Administration solicited proposals from vendors for pharmacy management services. We have Mr. Todd Miller, our Assistant Superintendent for HR, and Mr. Andres Silva, our Director for Employee Benefit Safety and Risk Management, who are available to answer any questions if needed, and we are requesting action on this item.
What say ye, board?
You have to do it, sir.
Do it.
What's your name, sir?
Do it, or I'm going to do it. If you don't do it, I'm going to do it. You better do it.
Andres Guadalupe Silva.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And I'm here to answer any questions if you have some, or I can give you a presentation as
It's
Sally said.
the same vendor that we had, right?
Same vendor?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Has the cost gone up?
So they're actually mirroring the same administrative cost of $6 per claim. So there's no change in that. They are increasing the rebate guarantees, so we stand to make a whole much more in return in rebates.
As for the employees that are covered, is the benefit still the same?
So it stays the same.
So
Yes, sir.
move to approve, Mr. President.
We have a motion on the
I'll
floor
second.
and a second.
I do have one question about that. On the rebates, this is year 2 with them, year 3?
This is year 3. We're
Okay.
at the end of a 3-year.
Compared to the previous 3 years ballpark figure, because I'm putting you on the spot, are we more, do we have more rebates with them than the previous vendor?
Absolutely.
It's not even close.
Not even close. Ballpark, we were averaging about 79,000 per quarter. Now it's 300,000.
Okay. My last question when it comes to no, it's a different vendor. The prescription costs that are higher.
That is a different vendor.
That's a
You're
different
referring
vendor.
to our
Yes, I
Electronics.
can't discuss, that's only this. No further questions.
All right, any other questions? Sofia Merced Peña.
Yes, I just know that that work is, the research is a lot, and I appreciate, and just wanted to thank Mr. Andres Guadalupe Silva for your hard work.
Thank you.
All right, board, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The ayes carry it 4-1. Thank you, Mr. Silva.
Thank you.
Item 15B3, discussion and possible action on the job description for Assistant Director for Student Support Services. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. Administration reviews all positions to maximize operational efficiencies, and this position will be responsible for assisting the Director of Student Support Services. We have Mr. Todd Miller, our Assistant Superintendent for HR, who is available to answer any questions if needed, and we are requesting action on this item.
Mr. Miller, the floor is yours.
Sure, thank you, President. This position will enable administration to provide improved support to students and parents while ensuring compliance with federal and state statutes. This position will assist the Director of Student Support Services in managing student discipline issues and concerns, overseeing investigations, coordinating with legal counsel, conducting hearings regarding student and parent complaints, managing Title IX issues and concerns, and ensuring compliance with District Open Record Request Program. Administration will repurpose another position to fill this position. This will be cost neutral to the general fund.
All right, are there any comments or questions for Mr. Miller?
Yes, Mr. President.
Trustee Saldívar.
Is the administration's intent to post this position, or already have somebody in mind to reassign?
We're discussing that right now. We have some options with regard to internal movement so that we can create some efficiencies in closing down some other positions. But we may post. At this point, we don't know at this point.
How is that going to affect staff? I mean,
It's not going to affect staff in a negative way. If there's anybody that gets put into that position, it would be a lateral move. Salary would stay the same. We just wouldn't fill the position that they vacate. So.
Now, I understood the presentation is that you were repurposing another position to create this salary position. So that means that has already happened.
No, it has not happened.
Misunderstand?
No, it's not. We're just bringing the job description to the board tonight for approval.
I know in the discussion, Mr. Miller may have given a little more information with regard to name and position and department, but there's other positions of that level that we're also considering.
So at this point, it's not a zero sum, because that's what I heard, that there's a current position in the same class category that you're eliminating to create this position, and therefore it would be zero sum. Not that there was a person already in mind, or not that you were, that's what I understood the presentation. Did I
Yeah, yes,
mishear?
that was
Okay.
correct. The only thing, and I hadn't spoken to Mr. Miller in depth about the vision for, there's an additional position that is identical in another department that we're considering also. So it will be zero sum. One department will lose an assistant director, so that position will not be filled, and it'll be picked up by this particular department.
It doesn't matter whether there's a person in that spot right now, right?
Right.
Gotcha. That's what, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Question.
Trustees Villa.
Thank you. Mr. Miller, that department, has it grown or gotten smaller in the last year or so? I mean, we're servicing fewer students, and I just wondered, because I know we didn't discuss that in committee.
The population of the department has stayed relatively current since we got rid of the transfers and all that stuff. That's been, it seems like 3 years ago or something about like that. It's just the volume of parent and student complaints while the investigators are out doing their work, if you will, just some assistance with the director to have the face-to-face with the parents and the students.
I don't know how many people are in that department, 8?
5, I believe.
5? So are we staying at 5, or are we staying, or going to 6?
Well, let me back up. It's 5 plus the director, I beg your pardon, so it's 6.
So 6, right?
6, including the director, the current director.
So are we staying at 6, or are we going up?
This
7?
would take it to 7 if board approved.
Is this necessary? I mean, is there somebody that is doing this right now, or is this something that's necessary for, I mean, we're adding a person to this group, right?
Yes, we're adding a person to this group, but we will be subtracting a person from another group. So from the big picture standpoint, it's budget neutral. We just feel like this particular department has more volume, especially coming out of COVID. When you look at all the investigations, when you look at the flow of parent complaints and the amount of work that this particular department is doing, we feel that we would get a better return on our investment from an assistant director in that department as opposed to some current
I
positions.
guess my concern here is we've talked in the past, or I have at least, about being top-heavy, right? Do we need to add another assistant director, or can we just add another person in there that would be able to handle a little bit more of the responsibility? Why are we creating another upper-level person when, couldn't we just add someone in there to do it, to help?
We believe our best bet would be to create and our concern was that too, right? We don't want to be top-heavy. So we're trying to be budget neutral. So for this department to gain, another department is going to give. So it's not going to add a position when you look at the total number. It's going to be budget neutral.
And I'm not concerned about adding a position. I think if you needed to add a position because they need help, you add a person, that can help. But we're adding an administrative position, and that's my concern, is that, again,
Oh, I see what your question is.
It's
Yeah.
not, I appreciate the fact that we are eliminating something that's unnecessary somewhere else to add structure to this one or add support. But do we need to make it an assistant director? Can we not make this person equal to somebody else? I don't know what this does for the staff internally as far as, oh my gosh, now yet another person that, creates that hierarchy and that top heaviness. And so is it really necessary to do this? Can we just add help?
I believe based on the volume and based on the level of concern that's coming through, whether it be Title IX investigations or whether it be, they do all kinds of investigations out of that department. So we feel like it does warrant that level of administrator.
Mr. President?
Trustee Saldívar.
Thank you. What's the salary on this, the salary range?
Sorry. It would be annually 78 on the low, 78,047 to 107,779 max.
And what was the max again?
107,779. This is an AE6.
AE6?
Yes, sir.
And so if you happen to find somebody that's already at the 85,000 range, that's what the salary would be. They wouldn't start at the entry level amount.
Right.
The concerns that were expressed, I kind of concur that as well. The thing is, we're The actual thing that we're approving is a position that does not exist. Once we approve it, the board can no longer be involved in whether the administration fills it, except for when you post and that person comes to the board for approval. And that's our chance. So we're creating a position, another position with a posting you're not going to use anymore because you're going to move possibly that position. I'm not saying person, that position is going to be eliminated, but the position is still there. You see what I'm saying? Because once you create a job description, it's there. And that's the concern, is we're creating a job description that if the need were to change, you got to fill them both. And a range possibly of 78,000 to 107,000. And so that's a concern that I have about creating job descriptions and positions rather than reproducing or just assigning personnel. Anyway, that's my thought, and I want to bring it back around to that's the position that we're creating, a job description for a position that stays with the district, whether it's filled or not, it's there.
Thank you, Trustee Saliva. Trustee Alvarado.
He clarified some of my question, but just one that's lingering. If I think it'd be helpful for me to look at the number of investigations that, Title IX, whatever this person does, how much it's increased in that office through years, kind of show me the need, I guess, that's warranted this move. Because to Trustee Peña's point, if it's just adding a caseworker because there's not enough, then, we could possibly save some money by repurposing it to a, case management type level. But if it's really truly a director and it's Title IX and it's involving other funds and it's hurting us as a district, exposure, legal issues, then I'm okay with the director, because then the director can solve it. So I just need a little bit more information for it. And I'll give you my last example. Does our recruiting, student, that's not the right word for recruiting, what's the student outreach?
Development.
The person that goes in, is this under that department?
No, sir.
No, so,
This is under John Wilde's department.
yeah, that's what I thought. I was just curious. I know there's a lot of questions on transfers, and sometimes it hurts us because if someone's trying to transfer into our district and they don't get quick response, we lose. I've heard that. So I'm curious if that can help with that. So in other words, one parent,
I'm sorry.
yeah, no, I'm sorry.
No.
It's a different department.
Well, but it also goes through them because there's some issue. No, not at all. So this person had a okay. I thought that.
Used to, 2, 3, 4 years back, but that's been removed.
Yeah.
So that's all.
This is all internal.
Okay. I stand corrected. That's all I have, sir.
Thank you, sir. Any other comments?
I just want to say, again, if we're needing help, like Trustee Alvarado said, if we're needing help, we should bring in help, but maybe not create a position that's an administrative position. I don't want to say that this happens, but if you're putting in an assistant director, is an assistant director going to say, well, I'm an assistant director, I'm not handling the other little stuff that needs to be done? If there really is a necessity for help, then we need to make sure that we're putting in the right person and not just creating another position.
Mr. President, well,
We have a motion on the floor to disapprove.
Oh,
He
I'm
just-
sorry,
he made-
I apologize.
Trustee Saliva made a motion to disapprove the position. Is there a second?
I wasn't a second in, but I'd rather have some information, so I was gonna ask for them to bring it back.
that was going to be my request
Okay,
under
let's-
Robert's rules.
I'm
I'll
still- Yeah, but
Let's-
I'll withdraw the motion.
Right.
If that's what you really want for us to do, I'll wait for that.
I just want a little bit more, and then that way I can decide whether to approve it or not.
I think that's a valid reason to wait.
Mr. President, if I may?
Yes, sir.
I'd request, based on the feedback from our board, that the item be pulled so we can come back with more information in the near future.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Done. We'll pull item 15B3. Item 15C1, discussion and possible action on the resolution to the Board of Trustees identifying hazardous traffic conditions for the school year 2022-2023. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. Districts are required to report hazardous area conditions within 2-mile areas that require transportation to be provided for students. We have Ms. Alejandra Gonzalez, our Assistant Superintendent for District Operations, and Ms. Erica Flores, our Director for Transportation, who are available to answer any questions. We are requesting action on this item.
What say ye, Board?
I move to approve the recommendation.
We have
This is routine, and there's a plan, so I'll second it.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any comments?
I do have a question.
Trustee Saliva.
And thank you for your report. We discussed this on Friday, and during that discussion, I asked if there were any additions from prior year. Are there
Yes.
any additions?
Yes, sir, there were 7 additional hazardous traffic.
Thank you.
It's and just for your information, they begin on the last 7 ones, beginning on number 57 through 63 are the new ones from previous year.
And if I'm not mistaken, Ms. Gonzalez, Trustee Simmons?
Yes, sir.
A parent is concerned about their child travel to their walk to school, and they feel it's a hazardous, they can always contact y'all, and y'all can evaluate that, correct?
Yes, sir, correct.
All right. If there's no further comments or questions, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The ayes carry it 5-0. The home stretch is there, boys and girls. Item 15D1, discussion and possible action on the McAllen Independent School District September budget amendment for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2022, ending June 30th, 2023. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. Administration is recommending the approval of the September budget amendment for the 2022-2023 fiscal year, and we are requesting action on this item. We do have Ms. Felix here if you have any questions.
So moved.
We have a motion by
Second.
Trustee Alvarado, a second by Trustee Peña. Any comments or questions? None heard. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same sign. Ayes carry it 5-0. Item 15E, Board of Trustee items. We're looking to approve the Board of Education meeting minutes for the special board meeting of September 19th, 2022, the special board meeting of September 28th, 2022, the regular board meeting of September 26th, 2022, special board meeting of October 3rd, 2022, the Safety and Security Committee meeting of October 3rd, 2022, and the special board meeting of October 12th, 2022. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
I have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Yes, sir.
I have a second by Trustee Alvarado. Any questions or comments? None heard. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same sign. The item carries 5-0. Schedule of future meetings. A special board meeting has been set for November 7th, 2022 at 5:30 p.m. A regular board meeting for November the 14th, 2022 at 5 p.m. Special board meeting December 5th of 2022 at 5:30 p.m. A regular board meeting of December 12th, 2022 at 5 p.m. And I would like to advise the board that we have a special board meeting November the 1st at high noon here in the Dr. Chapa boardroom. So, El Día de los Muertos, bring your mascarillas or whatever you want to do, but we'll see you here at high noon and for the special board meeting. There is no, yes, sir.
I move to approve the schedule of future meetings to include the special board meeting on November 1st.
All right, we have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The ayes carry it 5-0. No reason to go into closed session. No reason to come back from closed session to open session. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The motion carries 5-0. Our meeting is adjourned.
At 7:41?
At 7:41.